Okay, we ready? All right, we'll call the meeting to order. Jen, would you take roll, please?
Commissioner Corbin?
Here.
Commissioner Johnson?
Here.
Commissioner Waldner?
Here.
Commissioner Abraham?
Here.
Mayor Lindsay?
Here. You have attached the May 12th minutes. Are there any additions or corrections?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of May 12th.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. You have before you the agenda for this evening. Any questions, comments?
Mr. Mayor, if we could, because we have people in the audience to discuss item number 4, could we move that to number 1? Jen, is that right?
That's fine.
Okay. All right. Do we have a motion as amended?
So move to approve the meeting with the amendment.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. So discuss proposed school resource officer. And we have people in the audience. I'm not sure who wants to be the spokesman, but if you wouldn't mind coming up to the microphone so that the people at home can have the benefit of hearing the discussion.
Can we bring a chair?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Do you want to kick it off, or do you want me to say some things? I think you can go ahead and...
Well, I guess, first of all, my name is Tom Farrell, and I'm president of the Madison Central School District, and I have with me Mr. Vince Schaefer, who's our superintendent, and we're here tonight as kind of a culmination of a number of discussions that we have had that started way last September within the district, and then has continued through the late winter, early springtime with Mayor Lindsay and Commissioner Waldner and Police Chief Paulford, along with representatives of Lake County, Scott Peterson, Chris Giles, Jenny Thompson, and also Sheriff Tim
Wahlberg.
Wahlberg, get it
Yep,
out.
yep.
Tim Wahlberg, about moving towards a concept that we have not had in our district, nor has anyone else probably in Lake County ever had before, and that is something that's called a school resource officer, or an SRO. As a part of our process, the Madison Central School District, we have in our preliminary budget included a line item that we would like to include to partially fund the cost of a school resource officer. As we did our research, it's a little bit unusual that the school districts actually participate in the funding as we look down towards Sioux Falls, Minnehaha County, and other places. Much of the funding is handled by the governmental agencies, Flandreau, another example that we have looked at. But we're here to kind of kick off informal discussions, and tomorrow we'll be meeting with the county commissioners also, that we would like to ask them to participate also. The school resource officer would be someone who would work within the Madison Central School District. They'd work with the students, the administration, and faculty. But the way it would look right now is that person would be employee of the Madison Police Department. The role of the SRO would be to maintain a safe environment in the school, to continue to foster mutual respect between the district patrons and law enforcement. The SRO would be responsible for a variety of school-related tasks that would be included but not limited to educational programs, instruction, crime prevention, and reporting campus security and safety issues, traffic enforcement around the schools, as well as investigation of school-related crimes assigned to them. The SRO would work closely with the Madison Central School District Superintendent, as well as the principals, but the SRO will continue to report, if we choose or are able to move forward, to be able to report to the chief of the Madison Police Department. So with that, I guess I'll turn it over to either
Go
Mr.
ahead, Mike.
Waldner or
Want me to
Mr.
start?
Lindsay.
Go ahead.
Well, I'll start off, I guess, and the mayor can jump in, because he's been to quite a few of these meetings as well. And I guess first and foremost, I'm excited about this potential opportunity, just from the fact that you have the school district, the city, and the county all working together for what I think is a opportunity that can have an impact on our community, our county, and ultimately to the youth of our school and our school district for many years to come. This is something that, you know, our surrounding school districts, Tri-Valley, West Central, Baltic, Garrettson, Del Rapids, have had for probably 20-plus years, I think. And, you know, we've done quite a bit of research. We've brought Sheriff Milstad up from Minnehaha County. We've talked with him, as well as one of his, Preston Evans, who's I believe he's now the overall person for the SRO officers in that county. And I think we all learned a lot from their presentation. And a couple of things to kind of throw out a little bit about this person is, now granted, they will be a Madison PD officer housed within the school district. And so this is something that we've never done before. It will take the right person with the right mindset in order to be in this position. It's going to require a lot of flexibility not only in the individual, but on the side of the city, our police chief, the school district, the county, especially over this first year. I know in our discussions, we all talked about keeping open to mind and open communication between the three entities. And Mr. Farrow mentioned it, but I want to just kind of reiterate a little bit. I've wrote some notes here, and this person is a full-fledged, trained, certified police officer. At any given time, they can hop in a car and be on patrol. Now, they also have additional SRO training as well, and some of that SRO training is some of the consulting and counseling, if you will, duties that they would end up doing within the district. But this person also will help with when those tragic events happen within our community and they impact our students. Everything from, you know, doing suicide preventions, traffic accidents, let's see, perhaps childhood pregnancies, cancer events, even as simple as, to us it seems simple, but to them maybe not so much, if they have a nasty breakup with their boy or girlfriend. It can be kind of tragic for kids in high school. And what we're looking at is keeping students from being a criminal, and when possible, use these incidents as what we term and educators term teachable moments. And what we're trying to do is prevent wrongdoing rather than punish wrongdoing. And the ultimate hope is that we can get that student and prevent them from making bad choices and bad decisions throughout their lives. And so that's really what we're shooting for. And one other side of this also is that we're hoping that with the relationship that this person can build with the students and with the families in the community, it would give these students one more adult, a safe adult that they can go to and discuss life issues or life events that's happening with them. And they have one more person that they can maybe reach out to and find some help. So there's a lot of positive things that can happen with this. And from the other side, for my fellow commissioners, at this point, you know, we are still in discussions. We haven't finalized dollar amounts and some of those type of things. Definitely over the next week or two. I know Jen's done some preliminary work on this, and probably the next days and or weeks is where we'll start ironing out some of those kind of things before we come back with additional action for the commission to take. So with that, you know, we're open to other questions or comments and other discussion. And I guess what I'll also say, it's been great discussion with the city and the county, or the school district and the county and the city. It's quite a few meetings, some good time and effort of school board members and administrators and everybody working on this, so.
And the other thing, we learned a lot in that from Mike Melstead and from Preston, and that with the schools and that they service, the number of students in that have confided in them, that, you know, having them there, knowing that they were there, being able to talk with them, and that helped them make some pretty significant life-changing, you know, decisions. And on a couple occasions, and that Preston said they were anonymous. You know, he gotten a, you know, written letter, you know, and he said he would have liked to have known who the person was, but you know, it's things like that really help. And then when we had the unfortunate tragedy on the 50-yard line down in Del Rapids, the family was in need of someone to assist them, and the SRO did that, you know, in making the arrangements and that went after that. So it's been very good discussions, very good learning, and the nice thing about it is we're not reinventing the wheel. The wheel is around us. It's in, like Mike said, it's in Tri-Valley, it's in Garrettson, it's in Del Rapids, it's in Sioux Falls. So we have the expertise in that to assist with the development of this program. Mike and myself and the county people that have met, I think everybody is very positive and excited to move forward on this. And also, one of the things in that was discussed is in moving forward in that, it would be a 3-year commitment, because the first year is going to be learning. And so if we get something put together in that, you know, we would all be in it for the 3 years and that, you know, because it's going to take that long to, you know, really, you know, get things going, get things on board, see what adjustments need to make and things like that. And so it is a preliminary discussion. It's something that it's not a matter of time of if we need it, it's you know, when. And so it's also that vital link, you know, between the school, the town, and the police department. And there were some unique examples in that given where, you know, the students coming to school in the morning and speeding, and the SRO clocks them with the radar unit, pulls the student aside and visits and says, if you have your parents, call me within 24 hours and that we can discuss this. And if not, then tomorrow morning and that there will be a ticket on with your name on it and that they will get to pay. And they said it's a way of curbing and getting people to think more in terms, you know, rather than just handing them a ticket that the parent's going to pay anyway and the kid didn't necessarily learn something from it. So very, very positive, and that, so.
A couple other benefits that the city would have with this being a police department employee or another patrolman is that now then during the summer, then that person can also be patrolling our streets, allowing for other officers to take time off, their vacations and those type of things. Basically, we can put them in the rotation, and the other nice thing about that is now, as our students are going around town on the streets, they're in the gas stations, they're out at the city parks, now those students can see that officer on patrol, and that officer can continue to build that relationship throughout the summer, and even after they graduate from high school, the officer can still see them. And I know that we have some good relationships going on today with some of our officers and a lot of our students as they see them in the cafes and gas stations, like I said. But I think this will just kind of keep that going, even keep building and growing those relationships, which I think help our youth to evolve and be successful. And ultimately, that's what school districts are shooting for.
And the other thing that's unique about discussing it is the school board starts their budgeting process now, because you're on isn't it July 1 and June 30th budget? Where the city and the county are January 1 to December 31. So the budget times and that do not coincide, but that's also something that was discussed, and, would be able to be worked out, so. Any questions, comments, other discussion?
Well, I guess you guys have all made a good presentation about where you would like to see this go, but until we have some numbers and contracts, I guess there's not a whole lot to really consider for us. I mean,
True.
So, I mean, it's a good idea. I think it serves a purpose, but until we get down to the brass tacks of it, I guess we'll have to see where that goes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I like the idea, but we'll have to, when it comes to budget time, look at it.
I can
And-
certainly start the process of preparing some sort of agreement or memorandum of understanding if you want me
Okay.
to. It won't be ready overnight, but I can start it if you so direct.
And just an FYI, the preliminary discussions and that of what a budget could be, each entity was discussing, looking at budgeting $25,000 toward the project. So, and then there would be some in-kind things that, could be worked out later, so.
Yep.
So we have kind of talked, in the discussions, about what the program, would cost. But then again, nothing is finalized, but that's kind of the number that each entity is working with, so.
And like most projects, the first year is always a little bit more expensive. When you're talking about outfitting an officer with all the gear and uniform and things as necessary. And so that first year will be a little bit more, but that's pretty typical. And I'm encouraged by it just from the fact that the school, as well as the county, have stepped up and made that cost share between the three of us. And I think two things that shows is, number one is that all three of those entities believe in the program and believe in the project and the opportunities, and then also it shows the willingness to work together for a good common goal.
If I might add, quite obviously, we can't go ahead and do it alone. We don't have the power to have police officers at our discretion. We have to obviously go with an entity that has police officers as a part of it. It's not the kind of thing we can employ a school district employee. And it certainly, a year ago, the legislature came through with the Sentinel bill that you could arm people, and I don't think that there's any of us that would like to see that happen inside of our schools. So this is certainly a much better option than that might be for the Madison School District also.
And then also, for the news media and the people at home, and that Dakota State University is familiar with the discussions and that, and they are currently okay with the responses from the Madison Police Department. And at this point in time, and that Dr. Brofsky said that the funding was not there for them to participate in a similar program to what SDSU and USD have, so. And then the sheriff also visited with the other school districts in the area as well, and Scott from the county. So through the county, the other schools in that are aware of our discussions and, have been in discussion with the county as to whether or not it's something that they would consider. So there's been a lot of discussion, among a number of people, and the feeling has been it's worth moving forward. And so this is the initial discussion on that. So.
I'll wait.
Well, we want to thank you for your time. very
Yes,
much.
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Authorize the mayor to sign geotechnical exploration agreement with Geotech Engineering. Chad or Fred?
I can talk about that.
Okay, very good.
Thank you. This agreement would secure the service of Geotech Engineering to accomplish some coring on some roads that we have identified as candidates for some asphalt improvements in 2015. This would be to, they would have a drill rig come and drill in and sample the soil, the asphalt, and the granular underneath the road. It's part of the design process for these streets to allow them to put an economical section on. When I refer to a section, that's your combination of asphalt and granular, so that we're not making it too thin in the design process and the estimating process, nor too thick to be most economical. Basically, this will allow us to get some data back, provide some numbers, estimating, and determine, essentially because it's a function of cost, but determine how many blocks. Hopefully we can do blocks, several blocks of roads with some of the dollars that are being collected with the front foot maintenance fee in 2015. This wasn't budgeted for, and so I suspect a part of the approval process would be to determine or to note where those funds would come from. But I would recommend to proceed this year anyway, so that we can have these recommendations prior to budget time, rather than if you look at it from a year from now, and we try to get these in the spring with non-frozen conditions, it's not as optimal as getting the moisture contents and the samples with as it is right now. It would be the same funding source I would submit, likely, in if it's to happen in 2015 or right now.
And the amount that you're estimating that this would run is?
We had identified 20 blocks, and by no means do I anticipate we'll have enough funds to do 20 blocks. I just want to make that very clear. But these recommendations will be available long-term. So if these, they'll be available for years to come. So it's not as if this effort is wasted if we don't get till block 20 until 5 years down the road or something like that. But
in the same time, it could tell you that some of those 20 blocks are beyond repair and are already at a replace.
Right, well, absolutely, that's what we anticipate providing. I've talked to 3 different firms, and this is the lowest firm. They've done work for us in the past. They do a good job, very experienced owner of the company who does this, and yeah, that we look to have some recommendations, whether it's based upon the conditions of the asphalt, the base, and the subgrade, recommendations for if it's a candidate for a milling and overlay with just one surface layer, or if the conditions of any of those 3 components I just mentioned are in such poor shape that it's a full replacement. And again, so.
And when we're talking full replacement, we're talking about removing the asphalt that's there and going down 2 to 3 feet and fixing the substrate that's underneath?
Part of the recommendations would
Okay.
include that, removing the asphalt, the base below it, and any subgrade necessary to put back the appropriate thickness of a section. The cost, that's a good point. We asked for an itemized list per section, per area we've identified. If you total those up, it's $9,600, but if all these are awarded at one time, it's $6,600. So I think it makes sense to use the economy of scale of giving the go-ahead for all 20 at the same time, and $6,600 is what it would be.
That's a discount because they don't have to bring their equipment back and
Right.
pull it back and forth.
Right, when you ask for an itemized price, they have to
Yeah.
bid that based upon if they'd have to drive a truck up here
Travel up.
to do just,
Sure.
whether it's 3 to 5 blocks,
Yep.
what they're doing.
Yep. Mr. Mayor, these 20 blocks then are ones that we've identified as probably good candidates and.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's a good question. I think Fred provided some of these last year. It's very, very initial and tentative. And then we built off that list. Fred and I actually drove through and looked at all these. There was about 30 or 33 or 4 that we looked at and narrowed it down based upon some of the other ones, the condition of the asphalt, or excuse me, the sanitary sewer or the water mains weren't suitable, so we removed those because we anticipated a full removal anyway.
Eventually.
Of those eventually. Yep. So, and, go ahead.
This is a list that actually Bob and I put together about a year and a half ago, prior to starting the front footage, or right at starting the front footage fee. So we actually had some streets identified that we felt very strongly that needed some work, that were actually getting to the point of deterioration, so that's why they're on the list.
Okay. And you're definitely wanting to put it over what you consider to be good water and sewer so that you don't put down a new street and then have to tear it back up again to do some repairs.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
And this is our way of actually ensuring we get it right from day one, where we actually, as Chad said, put the material back on the street, you know, the way it should be put back, so we don't have any failures down the road. Be the last thing we'd like to have happen is to lay a new asphalt mat, and within a year or two, we've got issues with it. We don't want to encounter that starting out, so.
Ground heaving or whatever.
Yes.
Mhm.
So,
And Chad is correct, as this is an unbudgeted expense, so should you choose to authorize this agreement tonight, I would ask that you also include as part of your motion that funds should be utilized from the special maintenance fee fund,
Okay.
please.
With that, I would move to authorize the mayor to sign the geotechnical exploration agreement with Geotech for $6,600 to come from the special maintenance reserve fund,
Special maintenance fee fund. Yep.
fee fund.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Approved job description for, and this here, I'm going to correct on mine, should be for superintendent
You
of
should have a
streets.
new copy of that, yep.
Okay, mine isn't, but I am going to just go ahead and change that because I understand what was meant to be there. Streets, SW, that's,
Solid waste.
solid waste.
okay, I almost said sidewalks.
Someday.
Let's, yeah.
You don't like the way Bob drives, stay off sidewalk, right? And recycling. All right, discussion.
Want to start, Fred?
All right. Me?
Oh, I get to start? Okay, as we discussed last week, this is the new job description. We sat and talked at length about moving this from an hourly to a salary position. So that is this is the final product of that as far as the job description.
Little change to the duties, a few things added here and there, no major changes, no changes to the qualifications.
Nothing
Primarily
drastic.
your changes are your title, foreman to superintendent, and then the non-exempt to exempt status.
And for the information of the public, the reason that this is being looked at and done is Bob has indicated to us that he's going to retire and do some fun things. So, I see a nod. Other discussion?
My only discussion would be that obviously this is an important position for the city, for a person to get on Fred's team, and this is for the whole city. I mean, streets are expensive, as we just indicated earlier, and so it's an important position for us, not to be taken lightly.
And I would add that this description has been kicked around for quite a while and discussed probably at longer terms than that. So I think even Fred's predecessor had discussed this at one time or another way back then. So I think it's a step in the right direction, and hopefully it will help us find the correct replacement for Bob. He's going to leave some big shoes to fill. So with that, I would move to approve the job description for superintendent of streets, solid waste, and recycling.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Resolution 2014-11, amend established employee compensation for 2014.
This
And
simply goes hand in hand with the job description you just approved. Cover sheet here, resolution number 2014-11, changes attachment D, as reflected in the past salary resolution, passed last November. We'll make it effective the 15th day of June. Okay, page 2 is your attachment D, simply listing the superintendent of the street solid waste recycling department as a full-time exempt position, corresponding benefits below.
discussion, questions?
I'll make a motion to approve it.
Okay.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. You also have attached some personnel adjustments in different departments, again, as we're coming into summer.
Make a motion, we approve personnel as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Announcements and other business. Do we have a motion to go into executive session?
So moved. Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to go into executive session, 6:03 PM. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries.